I ask the clerk to please call roll.
Councilwoman Graziano? Councilman Andujar?
Present.
Councilman Ritz?
Present.
Councilman Trafficante? Councilwoman Vaziri?
Present.
Councilman Campopiano?
Present.
Councilman Bonanno?
Present.
Council Vice President Haroyan?
Present.
Council President Wall?
Here, thank you. I may mention a little bit of programming notes this evening. Some of you may notice, Director Renzulli is once again sitting in for the clerk. We definitely appreciate her efforts the last couple of weeks. Some of you may or may not know, we are very short in the clerk's office. Brings me to my second programming note. Many of you have commented on the agenda itself. I will take some responsibility, if not all of it, for this agenda. Unfortunately, we didn't have a clerk to post it, and my rudimentary skills as a clerk are poor at best. However, the heading is incorrect, but the substance of the meeting, I have checked with the solicitor and also council attorney, and the substance of the meeting is proper. So we will go forward. I do apologize for the condition. Going forward, we'll certainly do a better job. That being said, we're going to move on to our next item of business, which would be public comment. This is public comment on docketed matters only. If anyone is here in the chambers this evening.
Mr. President, if I could just be awarded a point of privilege, I just want to
Yes, go right ahead,
comment.
Councilman.
Our esteemed colleague, former Mayor Trafficante, underwent surgery this week, and I just would like to urge everyone here and in the public to keep him in your prayers. He's doing well. I know many of us have talked to him, but he's had surgery, and we wish him well. We miss him, and we hope he's back, and we hope he can stay calm. So his convalescence, we hope, is also very short. And I ask everyone to keep him in their prayers. Thank you.
I'm sure everybody will, and thank you for that. Sometimes we get so wrapped up in the business at hand, and I didn't think of that. And you know, it took a lot to get Councilman Trafficante not here this evening. I probably had to hold him from getting out of bed. Okay, going right into public comment. So once again, if there's anybody here in chambers who would like to make public comment on docketed matters, please step up to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and I'll give you 4 minutes. Just about at the end, I'll tell you to finish up. So if anybody would like to speak, please step up. Okay. I see none. Tom, is there anyone online?
There is no public comment online.
Thank you so much. At this time, I'm going to close public comment. If there are no objections, I'm going to take the agenda out of order. Seeing none, I'm going to start with the executive session. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to go into executive session pursuant to Rhode Island General Law 4246A2, session pertaining to collective bargaining for the purposes of receiving an update from the administration relating on ongoing negotiations and concessions from cities, unions, police, fire, DPW, administrative, and other staff bargaining units. Is there a motion?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Graziano? Councilman Andujar?
Yes.
Councilman Ritz?
Yes.
Councilman Trafficante? Councilwoman Vaziri?
Yes.
Councilman Campopiano? Councilman Bonanno?
Yes.
Council Vice President Haroyan?
Yes.
Council President Wall?
Yes. Okay, that motion carries. We are now in executive session. We're going to convene into the council offices. Thank you. time, I'm going to entertain a motion to return to executive session.
Second.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Graziano?
Attorney, I got you.
Yes.
Yeah, I got that.
Councilman Andujar?
Yes.
Councilman Ritz?
Yes.
Councilman Trafficante? Councilwoman Vaziri?
Yes.
Councilman Campapiano? Councilman Banano?
Yes.
Council Vice President Haroyan? Council President Wall?
Yes. I want to just take a motion to seal the executive session minutes.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? There being none, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Graziano?
Yes.
Councilman Andujar?
Yes.
Councilman Ritz? Yeah, say it. Councilman Trafficante? Councilwoman Vaziri?
Yes.
Councilman Campapiano? Councilman Banano?
Yes.
Council Vice President Haroyan?
Yes.
Council President Wall?
Yes. And let's just state for the record that there were no votes taken during that executive session. All right, moving right along, we're going to go on to the top of the list for new business, discussion of retracting the resolution in support of the Rhode Island General Assembly legislation authorizing the city of Cranston for a one-year levy cap exemption for fiscal year 2027 not to exceed 4.9% under Rhode Island General Law 445-2. I put this on here. At this point, I'll be honest with you, and I'll tell you why. A couple of factors were brought to my attention. One, it would not be a good idea to put this on and have to come back again. And the current trend in I'm sad to report at this moment that the current trend in our budget is trending right now as the most recent monthly report at a 9.1% deficit. That and the fact that even if we go to 4.99, we will realize about a $600,000 increase in our revenue. That being said, I think I would urge my members of the council to vote to retract this for this time, because unfortunately, and it's not something I'm happy to say, we may need it in the next fiscal year. I hope it's not the case, but I think discretion in this part would be the better part of valor. That being said, also, it would represent, if we had continued the current trend as we did in the amendment process, giving half to the school department and half to the senior center allocations, it would represent $300,000 per. So I'd urge, for sake of discussion, I'd urge a motion in favor of retracting this resolution.
So moved. Second.
Okay, I'm going to take discussion. I just wanted to get that so we're clear in discussion. I'm going to go right around. Anyone wants to say anything? All right, right around here. Okay. No, you'll be next. Yep. Councilman Campiano in all formalities.
Thank you, Council President. I agree with you. I think it's wise to put this off and deal with what we're dealing with right now and get through this. And I think the citizens spoke loud and clear that they are not in favor of a tax increase. So I thank you for bringing this forward.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Andujar.
Mr. President, thank you for retracting this. It's hard. I mean, it's something that I think we need, but I totally agree with you. I think it's all of our jobs on this council right now to look for ways to generate more income through the city, through whatever program, whatever idea you have. I think now's the time that we need to step up and actually do something to generate more money. So that way we don't, next year, it won't be as bad as this year. So with that, Mr. President, I'm with you 100%. And I'll be voting in favor to retract this.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Banano.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to sort of explain how it works to the people that are either watching or in the gallery or wherever they may be, how it works. If the reason why I am in favor of retracting this now is because if we were to continue with it and go to the General Assembly to go over the 4%, we're not allowed to do that for a significant amount of time in the future. So essentially, we'd be blowing it this year, and we wouldn't have that safety net again next year or the year after for the foreseeable future. So I think everybody on the council and frankly, everybody in city government at this point has been doing their damnedest to get the budget we need with the services we need at 4.65 and not have to go to the legislature. I think we're going to achieve being okay with 4.65 for this year. And we need to, save our ace in the hole for next year or the year after if we need it. So it's not like we can do this every year, and I want everybody to know that. This is not something that if we did it this year, we could come back in 2 years or 3 years and do again. So that's why I'm in favor of not doing it at this time. Thank you.
Councilman. Councilman Ritz.
I'll try not to repeat anything that was said, but I think, we put this in as a backstop, and that's what we told the residents we were doing. We didn't need that backstop, so I think we're being transparent and keeping our word here that we pulled this back. And not to repeat too much what Councilman Bonanno said, this was a backstop for an emergency situation. We've pulled out of that emergency situation because of the hard work of the council and working with the administration here that we no longer need that. So I appreciate, us pulling that back and saving it in case a real emergency ever happens. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Graziano.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I echo the other council's sentiment on it's 3.4%, and I agree. I just wouldn't want to use it frivolously now when I believe that we can work the budget out for this season. So I also don't want to put the residents through this over and over again. So we're be reasonable when we're asking the taxpayers to cough up, the 4.65. Let's not keep going right now. So I'll be in support of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Council Vice President.
I'm in full support of this. Like Councilman Ritz said, we asked for this in case we needed it. We all worked together. We had great support from the unions. We don't know what our future holds, but we knew we needed to do something. We were able to make some cuts in different areas. And even at 4.65, that's still a large tax increase for people. So I'm in full support of this.
Thank you, Council Vice President. Any other comments before I ask the clerk to take roll? I see none. Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Graziano,
Yes.
Councilman Andujar,
Yes.
Councilman Ritz,
Yes.
Councilman Trafficante, Councilwoman Vaziri.
Yes.
Councilman Campapiano,
Yes.
Councilman Bonanno,
Yes.
Council Vice President Haroyan,
Yes.
Council President Wall.
Yes, and that motion carries. Moving right along, next will be a discussion of the Cranston Home Rule Charter, the provision regulating non-interference with administrative duties pursuant to section, pardon me, pursuant to section 3-19. This is for discussion purposes only. I put it on there because I think sometimes in this time, we all have, the council, as rightfully said, the members of the council have done a great deal to go find savings and go to different departments. And I think we just want to make sure that we have like a clear boundary, and I'm going to ask the solicitor to come up, clear boundary of what exactly that line is. Solicit anytime. We're talking about 3.19. So perhaps just to reiterate what I said before, I think the council members would just like it's just kind of a clear line in the sand.
some
And
guidelines.
sometimes you want to turn that on.
It is.
The charter provision, it's not always clear, but please.
Thank you, Council President and members of the council. So the charter is clear on 3.19, which deals with interference in administrative matters. The mayor, the administration, and this council have a very good working relationship. And I think that I want to say that on behalf of the mayor and the administration. I think it's clear. But what the members of the council and all we're asking is understand that every request should truly go through the administration. We're happy to provide, and I say that as one department head of 13, we're more than happy to provide informational documents, information to any member of the council that asks for it. But I want to be clear that the charter provision prevents members of the council from directing any department heads from doing anything. And that means meetings. That means, hey, send me something. Call me, within reason. And I just want to put some guidelines and some guardrails on that, because I don't think we want to be having this conversation. We're in a very difficult period, both the council, the administration, the city, the taxpayers. We're all trying to, as Councilwoman Haroyan had just mentioned a moment ago, we're all trying to work together on this. But members of the legislative branch can't be directing members of the executive branch what to do. It's a simple separation of powers, which is why it's in the charter. And my suggestion is that we all just get along. We try to contact, if you want to contact a department head, and take myself out of it, because I'm kind of a pseudo council lawyer, and I'm also by charter, I direct the administration. But other department heads, I would just ask that everything go through the administration, whether it be Chief of Staff Moretti, Deputy Chief of Staff Paplopoulos, just that, and it could simply be a courtesy that we're going to contact X, or we'd like to speak to Y. Is that okay? Are you okay with it? I would bet, and I certainly won't speak for Mr. Moretti, but I think I do, in that 99% of the time, no problem. Reach out, have at it. Okay, but there is a wall. We have to remember that the members who are sitting here, all 8 members, and Mayor Trafficante, who's not here right now, are members of the legislative branch. And the administration and the departments run under the executive branch, and there is a separation of powers. So I can't reiterate more. We're more than happy to work with every member of the council. I've made it clear on my behalf. I think Mr. Moretti has made it clear on behalf of the full administration that we're more than happy to provide documentation, provide information, return phone calls, return emails. If there's some data digging that needs to be done on behalf of the council for some questions that you have, certainly especially budget related, but members of the council cannot be calling up department heads and demanding meetings or having meetings without the knowledge of the administration. And that's kind of where it goes, because it gets into the subversion. It gets into whether or not it's intentional or not, and whether or not that's the intent. That's not what it is. And 3.19 kind of spells that out. And it spells out a number of other things, including the penalties. And we're not there. We're not talking about that, okay? But we just all need to work together. And I think that I know I do. I know I speak on behalf of Mr. Moretti, that we all were happy to help out any member of the council president. We want to have a great working relationship, which we are currently having, which it's wonderful. So I just want to stay on that page. And that's kind of why this was brought up, because there were apparently some contacts that were made during the budget negotiations and during budget preparation, which potentially could violate this. That's all. That's all. And it's not, we are better than you or you're better than us. It's not. We're co-equal branches of the city of Cranston. And that's what we're working on and working towards. So I want to just be clear on that and just.
Thank you. And listen, I know everybody here, everybody in the council wants to do right by the charter. They respect the separation of power. And that's why I suggested we put this on, so we're clear. So, but sometimes when I read this, I need a little tangible, hypotheticals for a situation. So if I was to call the director of a department and ask him about his budget or the figures, or how many people is in the department, or just what figures are in this different line, am I violating 3.19?
No, if informational purposes, it's specifically
That's
listed
fine.
in there, that's fine. It's.
Let me go,
Go ahead.
I'm gonna go up the ladder a bit.
Yep.
If I asked him to run me some figures, could he run me some figures on this hypothetical, because he has understanding? Say it was the tax assessor and I wanted to change, and I've done this, I'll tell you that as fact. What would it cost if we changed certain, made 3 designations as opposed to two? Because you and I had that conversation. Would I be violating it then?
No,
By crossing the line?
those are, no, I would suggest those are informational and that's what it's
Information.
for. But I would suggest that if, for instance, President Wall, if you contacted Department Head X and you're requesting he do something, that's
I
where the
can't
fine line is.
Direct him
Correct.
to do
But
something.
if you.
I'd
and I'm-
have to ask Director Moretti. to do it.
Correct. Would you mind if
Okay.
Director X,
Right.
would you contact Director X
How
on
do
my
you-
behalf, Mr. Moretti, and ask him if we can access this information? Then you're doing it properly. But by
Dealing with something.
contacting Director X directly and saying,
Right.
do this for me, I need these numbers, and it's really a technical violation of 3.19.
And Director, you stood up for a reason, so you want to weigh in before I even take any questions, because I want to make sure, listen, once we draw that line, we'll know where it is.
Yeah.
And it's fine, because
Yeah,
how
by
are
the
we
way,
gonna learn?
yeah, thank you. This comes up by the way with every council sometimes. I think Solicitor Malay indicated well, maybe everyone's well-intentioned, but we have, what it is, we have 300, we just want to give perspective.
Mhm.
The administration is the executive branch operating a $350 million business. And there's got to be order and knowing, what's going on in the sense of everyone rowing in the right direction. Now, the council president mentioned something. So if there's simple informational requests, great. But if it's one of those, hey, can you just do some research and you spend 2 or 3 hours doing this or that?
Oh, that's good.
Then then we should be evaluating their workload and priority to service the council president versus if we have something urgent going on, you might be putting them in a conflicting position. I do that by way of example.
Yes.
But if it's something for, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever kind of simple information request, sure, I don't even want to hear about it.
Okay.
But it's more just to mostly keep order. And the other thing too, is sometimes they're put on the spot. And they are thinking, how would the administration feel? And it might be, we don't want to put them in an uncomfortable position. So it's more like we're just trying to, I'll tell you, just keep things going in priorities. I remember in business, if you want to change a report in business, you put a service request into IT to ask them to change it. And the director would then take all the requests and prioritize those requests. And just to, keep order and priority would be a perfect reason why the administration would like to be involved. But correct, as both gentlemen mentioned, absolutely, unless something is just totally unreasonable, more than happy to accommodate, work with you folks. And sometimes if you wanted to meet with the department head, and by the way, it goes to employees also. But, it might be beneficial that if someone from the administration also sits in on a meeting. So it would probably be helpful in the long run. So I just want to give perspective to that, not trying to be meanie people, but just to kind of realize that it's kind of still a business to run.
Yep.
And understand you're the board of governors. You're overseeing the administration, you're overseeing the executive branch and totally get that. And this body has the power of investigation too. Obviously, we don't want to go in that direction. We'd rather accommodate. But we also realize that too. And we know that you have that authority and as well you should. So that's really the spirit of it. Just wanted to convey that more on a practical basis to you.
No, thank you. And that kind of thing. I'm going to take some questions. I see Councilman Endahar, I see Councilman Venado. I'm going to go right around and give everybody an opportunity. If you're willing to answer some questions, by all means. Councilman Endahar.
Thank you. I mean, there's nobody, and I thank the administration. I mean, I learned from day one that, everything goes through the administration, and I have always emailed the administration. They always got back to me in a timely fashion. But my issue is with 3.19 is that we're basically nothing. So I think that's something we need to look at for the future. My question for the solicitor is, what are the ramifications if we violate that 3.1? Like, is there a fine? Are we gonna get salary deduction? What are the fines?
The ramifications are, in reality, as you read it, you could be removed from office. It's spelled out. Now, I haven't done a deep dive and found out when this particular section of the charter was passed, if you will. But removal from
1973.
office is a possibility. I'm not saying anyone would require a vote or require a lot of things, but it's in there for a reason. And that's all. We didn't create the charter. We live by the charter. Those are the rules. If, as you just indicated, maybe it's something you should look at, that's for the entire
Solicitor, would
city.
you like me to read it?
I have it, but that's for
Just so
the,
the council members, I don't know if we have it up
If-
there.
I don't see it.
It
it's
says
all
the
right.
fol- Just, but you, to your point, I just want to read it quick. And by the way, it says 1973 and it was approved it's got two dates, 98 and 1973. Any council member shall violate any provisions of this section, that member's seat of the council shall be declared vacant by a majority vote of all the council members after a public hearing. The seat shall be declared vacant and it shall be filled according to the provisions in the charter. That would be the replacement. So this is like, a lot of times we do talk about some provisions don't have any teeth. There is a, if this, then that, given a vote, a majority vote of the council. But it's not someplace we're going right now.
No.
But I figured why not just have it? I
no,
printed
yeah,
it.
I mean, it's there. It was created for some reason way back when. I mean, you'd have to do a deep dive into the legislative history of why it was put into the charter. I think it's more, as we've discussed, Councilman Andahar, it's more guardrails, like, just a simple courtesy that as Director Moretti had indicated, like, you're asking someone in the tax department, for instance, to print me up all these reports and everything. Well, that member of the tax department can't do their normal job for an hour, 2 hours. And then when Director Moretti asked them for what they were doing and they were supposed to be doing that day, they say, well, I was working on X, right? That's all it is. It's not, this conversation, and I'm glad we're having it. It's not the first time it's been brought up, but this is, it's just a reminder that there is some guardrails. That's all. And again, I want to say and reiterate, no one's trying to deny anyone, whether it be these 7 members of the 8 members and Mr. Trafficante or anybody else on the council, any type of information. We're not stonewalling. No one wants to do that, but it just has to be done the right way. Like I said, you call me up, can I see something? Sure, come on over, no problem. That's not a big deal. But when we start, and the language is clear in 3.19, directing someone to do something, that's when it crosses the line. That's all.
All right, thank you, Mr. Solicitor, and I thank the administration for, coming up today, but, it feels like we're useless. And what I would say to everybody that I will always vote in favor not to vacate your seat. So thank you very much. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Councilman. With that in mind, Councilman Donato, yeah.
Thank you.
I'm going to go around, yeah.
I want to say a couple things. First of all, I think this conversation is good. I don't want to make a fight where there isn't one. And I don't think that, I don't think that this administration, I don't think there's a problem. Let me just stop by saying that. I think perhaps the email we got was a little strongly worded. But with that being said, I honestly don't believe that anybody here has directed any department heads. I do want to say one thing. As a council person, I feel a responsibility to ask questions and receive answers to questions from department heads. Or if you want us to include the administration on that, that's fine. I think that, and by the way, I want to be very, very clear. I don't feel like this has happened. At least it has not happened to me. But I guarantee that somewhere in the future, there's going to be a council person that gets put on the mayor's pay no mind list, and their questions are not going to get answered. And that council person deserves the same questions being answered as any other council person. And like I said, this has not happened to me. I'm not saying it's happened in this administration. I can only judge by what has happened to me, and it has not happened to me in my time on the council. I'm not an attorney. I'm not an overly educated person. I possess a degree in communications, but when I need a definition for something, I go to the dictionary, and I went to the dictionary and I looked up the word direct, and as a verb, it says to regulate the activities or course of, to carry out the organizing, energizing, and supervising of, to train and lead performances of, and to dominate and determine the course. So with that definition, I hear what
Mhm.
the solicitor is saying. I don't think anybody here has done that. I will say that, a question or, hey, what do you think of a stop sign going here? Or, if we were to do something, would that negatively affect, your department in some way? I think those questions are germane, and those questions are what we are supposed to do as a council. I think, hey, go park this police car over here for 4 hours, or Solicitor Millet, I need you to sue this guy. I think that's where we get into directing people. I understand that there are nuances, and I think that now that we have a more clearly defined line, it's easier. But I do think that it's in our purview to get answers to questions, and I hope that continuing to get answers to questions is on everybody's priority list. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Ritz.
So few things. I know the senior center kind of put everyone on their back foot, me visiting there. But I understand not directing work, but I do like to see things firsthand and unfiltered, and it just screams transparency to me. So I think me visiting the senior center to see how the operations work directly when we're making decisions on firing people, ending services, to see exactly how it works from the people doing the work, I think is a reasonable request. I understand what the charter says, but I think being chaperone to all these things just, it feels like a gatekeeper to me. And I think in some aspects like that one, we should have the power to go and look and see how these operations work when we're deciding things that impact so much of the city here, like the senior center, when our back is against the wall to make decisions right away. So I disagree with that piece of it. I've always wanted transparency. I feel like this hinders that. I understand not directing work, but I also think seeing things firsthand from the people doing the work without being chaperoned and getting it filtered has an important piece of it too. I see it in my own life and my work. If I ask my managers what's going on, I'm probably going to get a filtered answer how they want to tell me. But if I go and see how the work's done, then I understand it firsthand. And I think this is even more important when we're dealing with things that impact people so directly. It's just my thoughts. Thank you.
Hey, yeah, I think if you don't mind if I interject an important point. So if I was to visit the senior center tomorrow, should I, and just, if this is the way I'm hearing this, should I just call you director, send you email? I'm going to be going by the senior center. I'm not going to be telling anybody to do any work. I just want to see it on my own.
I think a courtesy of doing that, just in case I'm aware of that something
Just let
else
you
might
know.
be going on and we have a priority. And I could maybe, hey, could you make it another day if something else was up? But just, yeah, I think as a courtesy and just to realize that maybe we do have some knowledge about something going on that might be a conflict. And you'll get a quick response. And
But-
it's not necessarily permission. By the way, to
Yeah.
that, absolutely. Councils be welcome to any view any facility, any operation. But, let me just say, if you wanted to have specific meetings with people, that could be disruptive.
So if I want to direct someone to have a meeting with me, that would be a little.
I
going
think
more.
it's,
But
yeah.
I should be, but I think, and the part that I heard, and this is what kind of resonated, was I shouldn't need a chaperone. Like, you don't have to chaperone me when I go to the senior center. It's not a construction site,
No,
right?
if you-
But
if you-
you'd
if
like
you-
a heads up in case there's some event going on.
Is that, or to say, maybe, believe it or not, we might have some knowledge of the topic that the administration knows of something that could be helpful. Or you can just voice an opinion, but no, to prevent you from going, absolutely not.
Absolutely. Okay, that's clear. Councilman Ritz, you good? All right. Councilwoman Graziano.
Thank you, President. And I do, and I have read it in interpretation.
Mhm.
Def. So,
I think you-
well, they should stand.
You're not good.
Okay. I don't know what to say.
How about now? The red.
Do you have a rock I could put on it? Is this okay? I'm gonna press really hard. Okay, so I understand what the charter says and I understand directing department heads, but I do have some of the same feelings that council members have already mentioned, which is like, if I'm a resident and I'm not a council person, I can simply go into a department head and request information. It's public records request. So I feel like I have more authority as a regular resident to go in and just do a public records request. Second thing is, same thing with a meeting as a resident. I could go in as a straight resident and request a meeting with any staff member, and they have to manage that. They have to manage their workload. And segueing into that, I mean, I feel this way about my position in a municipality. If I'm a department head, which I am, I should have some level of autonomy, which is why you asked me to be and work and get paid $150,000. I'm making up numbers, $150,000 a year because I'm a department head. I have autonomy. I manage my department. I can manage my workload. So people come in and ask me questions all the time, and I have to manage my own workload. So I don't think that we're directing anyone to do anything. I think we're just simply gathering information for something that's on the agenda, which sounds like, I mean, a resident could do more efficiently than I can do it. That's what it's sounding like to me. That's just my personal opinion. I believe that maybe I should just be a resident and just come on and speak on every agenda item and do my own research through public records. And I just feel that, like, if you're paying somebody X amount of dollars and you think they're a department head level, that they should be able to manage a level of workload unless you're micromanaging every single aspect. Some things, yes, I agree with, Councilman Bonanno. I'm not going to go direct, just so I don't have to make something else up, like direct a police officer to sit in front of my house for 2 hours, or tell somebody to write a ticket, or whatever it is, cut down a tree, plant a tree, whatever it is. So anyway, my point is that I'm not going to direct anyone to do anything, but I would think that staff would be able to somewhat manage their time to meet with not just a council person, a resident. We're also residents. So I guess I have a hard time sort of dealing with that. Like, if I have to be babysat. So if I'm a resident, I don't have to be babysat. So maybe I'm a resident. And then I do feel the same way Frank feels, Councilman Ritz, about, visiting the senior center, because I was one of the people that visited the ice rink, but I could have just gone ice skating and visited the ice rink. I didn't direct anyone to do anything. I was on an educational exploration, and I could have just skated around and done that and taken pictures. It's a public place. I mean, I can go to the senior center and with my mom and, go to one of the courses, and maybe that's a better way to do it than as a council person. I don't know, but I guess my point is, maybe I should public records request everything, and then you have to provide it to me in 10 days. Maybe I should just be a resident. These are just like funny things, right? I'm not being adversarial. This is what I'm hearing in my mind. And also, I work differently. I am able to answer the public's questions when they come into my office to see me. So, and I manage my own workload based on what I have to do for my job. So I believe that that's what you're hired for. And if you're not, then maybe you're not a department head. I think that's all I had, and I do appreciate this, and I'm not being adversarial. I'm just thinking my position it means I can do less research than I can as a resident. That's my opinion.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Council Vice President.
I echo what everyone else has just said, but I want to clarify something, make sure I understood this. This part of the charter was written in 1973 and hasn't been updated? Is that correct?
Probably.
I think we probably have at least 5 members on this council that were not even born then.
I'll bet
So-
you've got a couple.
Yeah, so we probably need to update that. That's
But-
first thing we learned.
Just to be clear, and just on this part.
Yeah.
We don't get to update the charter.
Okay.
That's up to the voters.
Okay,
So-
well, we can get it on the
No,
record.
it's possible, and that's something separate
Absolutely.
discussion altogether.
Yeah,
Which will require a charter commission to review the charter to figure out why this is in there. Again, Councilwoman Haroyan, I don't think anyone's trying to throw barbs or accusations.
and no one's trying to micromanage, to definite.
No one's trying to micromanage anything.
Yeah,
But I'm going to suggest this, and I'm just going to say this, right, as is. When everyone takes their oath of office, you all agree
right.
that you're no longer just citizens. You agree to uphold the laws of the United States, the state of Rhode Island, and the charter and provisions and ordinances of the city of Cranston. So while it's here, whether you disagree with it or not, your oath of office requires you to abide by that. And that's all I'm trying to say. No one, I take slight exception to the fact that someone said it was a sharply worded email. It wasn't. It simply provided, and it was cut and pasted the language in 3.19. You don't agree with it, there's a process, and that has nothing to do with me. But in the meantime, that is the law that's been handed to you that you have agreed by taking office to abide by. You
Yeah,
can't pick and choose which laws you like and don't like. No one can. So I'm not trying to be adversarial. I'm not at all. I mean, we want to all get along. If you want to call me up and look at something, Councilman Graziano, you mentioned it a couple of weeks ago. You want to come and look at the law books? Come on in. Come on in anytime.
And I get that, but I'm sorry, but
Hold on, hold
we're
on.
back to me working 40 hours a
Councilwoman,
week.
hold on. Right now, you're not calling people. Councilwoman, Vice President, who
Right.
has the floor.
Yes.
We're-
Yeah, I'm
I
not
know,
trying to have a-
hold on,
no,
hold
and-
on,
yeah.
hold on. We're
not
gonna
trying to have a
just
back
keep
and forth.
order,
No.
relax. We're all gonna relax a little bit. You're gonna ask questions and I'm gonna go next.
no, I'm all set with that, but I think what everyone here on council is trying to do is they want to fix things, they want to work for the city. And sometimes it's difficult if somebody sees something on social media and they want to go help that department. They may not think to go through the chief of staff. If I see a comment on a playground with trash everywhere, I actually get in my car and go there and clean it. Should I reach out to the chief of staff on a weekend and say, hey, by the way, I'm gonna go clean the playground. Would you just let the department head know?
That's not, that,
That's not what it
Councilwoman
says.
Haroy, it just respectfully, that's not directing a depart, no, but that is not directing a department head. All I'm talking about is directing a department head to do something on your behalf, right? If it's informational, as it says in there, no problem. But if it's something more than just informational, then it does border on a violation of the charter. And that's it. I mean, and again, I was directing a Councilwoman Graziano. I'm not trying to pick on it. That's informational. Sure, no problem, right? Come on in the office and look at what you're looking to look at, right? I get what you're, no, I get what you're saying.
I promise I'll call on you. He keeps-
Yeah, I get, and I'll address
The
it in one
solicitor doesn't
second if
get
you
to
actually
call
want
it.
to ask it, I'll address it, but that's all we're trying to say. I'm not here trying to pick any type of fight or direct or saying anyone did anything wrong. I'm just saying this came across my department's desk as there were some concerns that there were people overstepping their boundaries. And there were concerns from department heads that they may or may not be being told what to do or asked to do stuff that they weren't required to do. And so it goes right back to the charter provision. And that's all. And I just, again, we're getting along so well. I want to keep it
Yeah.
that way.
No,
wanna keep it
I
that way.
think and I'm gonna call, because, listen, I know you've been waiting to speak. I'm gonna go back to Councilman. When you're done, are you done? Well, but I just want to be crystal clear on this. We are getting off what's written, and we're getting off what's written here. So I'm gonna be real clear first. So hold on, let me finish. All right? This has to do with not you going to the playground, not you going to the senior center. It's directing, it's me saying, I want to have a meeting with the director. I have a right to go to the senior center. I do. You have a right to go to the playground. I do. Councilman Graziano has a right, and I have a right to go to the ice rink. However, if I want to meet with the director of the ice rink, I got to go through Mr. Murray. If I want to talk to the playground, the guy that had the playground, either I'm going to pull him here before, or I'm going to ask the director to speak to him. As a citizen, I didn't lose my rights, and I think that's where you were going, but it got kind of convoluted there. I didn't lose my rights as a citizen, all right? But if I want to, and basically allocate some of the people who are subversive to the mayor, and not subversive, subordinate to the mayor, right? Then I'm going to have to go through the mayor's office and probably Director Moretti or someone in the administrative offices. So no, you can go to the playground. You can do all those things. That has nothing to do with this charter. This has to do with allocating resources, and that's where it is. So, or directing, as Councilman Bonanno says. So I can go to any of these places I could before I was elected. But I can't tell, but what you said, I probably can't call the director and say, I want to meet with you. Right? Because then they think I'm just a regular citizen, and the truth is I'm an elected official who did swear an oath to the charter, to the Constitution, the Rhode Island Constitution and the charter. So just with that in mind, we are going a little bit farther away from where it is. You're not that
We
limited.
might have taken a little offense.
Well, you might have taken, I'm sure, but I just want to make sure we're saying, kind of saying the right thing that's actually in this provision.
And for
So-
now,
Okay. Councilman Graziano.
I'm not gonna. Oh my God. I think it's an opinion on what direction is. That was my point. I'm sorry. So like, and then my other point was, I get that I agreed to uphold it. I am just making a statement that if I go back to being a resident, I can just call the department head and meet with them about any agenda item and get the information without calling the administration. So I'm just saying that I understand the two different houses. I'm saying maybe it's better for me to be a resident, and that way I can get the information more efficiently and more directly than if I'm a council person, because I can't go get information on something here unless I go through Director Moretti and then request it, and then 4 days later, I can maybe meet with somebody on whatever day they can meet. So like, I'm just saying the efficiency and the things that I need from my agenda knowledge may not happen in a timely manner. I guess that's kind of all I'm saying.
So citizen Graziano could kind of fly under the radar and do those things. That's 100% true. Yeah.
I'm
I
not
agree with that.
saying I changed my oath. I'm just
Yeah.
explaining that. And then I guess my other thing I'm saying about going to, I can't drive to somebody's place of work, so I can just public records request it and then you can just give it to me. So that's what sounds like I have to do.
You good, Director?
Could I, mind?
Yeah.
I'd be nice.
You gonna be nice?
I'd be nice. No, I fully understand what you're saying. and-
We're gonna go all the way around.
And I think we're in concert with it. I just want to give perspective. I'll be quick. I think the analogy here is, say myself or the administration is your general contractor. And they're at your house, I'm providing all the subs. And the electrician's there and you want to move this or that. Well, you don't necessarily talk to the electrician to move it because it's a contractor has to know what's going on because he's in charge of the operations and the costs, et cetera, et cetera. So what I would do is I go to the general contractor, I don't go to the electrician. That's kind of the analogy, what I'm trying to say in terms of the operations. In terms of separating this is, if there's any informational stuff, feel free. If there's just informational, you want to speak with someone, if it has to do with policy, operations of the city, that's a different story about sitting down with meetings. But to go in to say, yeah, just informational, fine. If, in fact, I think Councilman Anderhart knows best. He sent me a quick note. I said, Andy, pardon the casualness, but go right ahead. Just don't even bother us with that. And that's really what it is. It was a courtesy. So but that was it, but no intention whatsoever. But in terms of blocking any information. The one thing is substance over form. The word is, I know we're all honing in on the word direct. You can look up in the dictionary, with all due respect, Councilman, what the definition of direct means. But in reality, it's substance over form. If you're putting someone, you're saying, hey, director of what, or employee of such a department, can you meet with me? I want to meet with you. And can you do this? You're not directing the person to do it, but can you? You're asking a question. Well, that's kind of substance over form. You're really directing. So I just want to kind of put that in perspective. But lastly, I just want to, the whole thing about perspective is, let's recall over the last couple of years, or the time this council's been here and before, look at all the times the administration does cooperate with you. On a day-to-day basis, I think you see us responsive, I think highly responsive. We're not perfect, and we may have not responded to everything, nor as timely as you would wish, as timely as we would wish, given what we have going on. But we want to get the same job done, and we want to help you out with your constituents. That is the spirit of this thing. So I hope you please reflect on all the good this administration does try to cooperate with you when you do have your requests and to meet, et cetera, et cetera. So just to have that in perspective, I understand that was the wording was a very legal, that, I saw that email, it was very legal, and I could see where you have that, a little pushback and your nose was a little rubbed the wrong way, and I get that. But again, we don't want things to change. Happy to help, happy to respond, and not looking to block, but there could be, I won't be any more verbose than they already explained. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. I'm gonna go right around again and, yes, Councilwoman Missouri.
So basically, if we need something done, just go through the administration.
It's about right?
If you just have like a simple informational question, feel free just to contact the department. Hey, you tell me about this program, this, that, but to say, hey, I'd like to talk to you about this program, maybe we should operate it differently. Then I'd say, can you just give me a shout,
Thank you.
please?
Thank you, Councilwoman. I don't see, Richard, is your hand up? I can't see it. No? Okay, Councilman Underhoff.
All right, so I'm gonna try to dumb this down, Director, so we all understand what's going on. We have the power through 13.17 to basically call up the chief of police and say, hey, how many cars are down? But I can't ask them, how many cars do we need? Is that what I'm hearing here? I'm trying to dumb this down so everybody understands what, because I think we're going way off the rails here. Give me a real life example.
Yeah, I like
That's a
that.
pretty good example, because I think there could be disagreements. The chief might feel some way, but the mayor might feel differently. Well, the mayor is responsible for the budget, and the police chief's going to advocate for his cause. So yeah, that could be a conflict that would
Not
be.
that I had that conversation,
Of
other
course, you
people had
never
it
would.
here,
I
not me
understand.
though.
But yeah, it's also to avoid that, put them in an uncomfortable, if you perceive you're putting them in an uncomfortable position, whether it be a top department head or employee, that's a good acid test to it. You know, put yourself in their spot. Do you think they'd be comfortable?
But like I want to say for the record, every time I've had a question, I've reached out to the administration. They have given me the authority on 97.5% of the times to talk to whatever director. So I do thank you, Director, for promptly responding, and I think I'm all set.
Okay, Councilman Banano.
Thank you. Like I said previously, I don't want to make a fight where there isn't one. I think that the tone of this conversation is much preferred in relationship to the tone of the email, where the final line of the email said that, we have to follow the charter, including but not limited to asking written permission from the chief of staff to speak with department heads or city employees. I just want to say that I'm going to go by what this conversation has been and not what that email said. If I have a question, I'm going to ask it. I'm going to be very careful not to direct anybody or even ask a question that could be perceived as direction. And if I want to direct something, I will go through the administration. But if I have a question about someone's opinion or something, part of our job is to check and balance everything else. As is part of the mayor's job, part of the administration's job is to check and balance us. That's how government works. So nobody's got absolute power, and I don't think anybody thinks that they have absolute power. But it's our job to make sure that, we don't or anybody else. I also want to say, I'd be remiss if I didn't say that especially since Director Renzulli has come on and began working in the mayor's office, my requests anyway are answered so fast, I don't even know if she read the whole email. It's impossible that she read it and got me the right answer. I don't know how she does it. And that's meant to be a compliment. She's very fast and gets us the answers very quickly. So, I hope that she is as valued as we feel as though she is. So she's doing a fantastic job. I just want everybody to know that publicly. But like I said, I'm still going to ask questions if I have questions. It's not my intent to circumvent any authority that anybody may have. And I hope it's nobody else's intention to circumvent any authority that we as council people have. I think everybody's kind of good. And I'm glad that the tone of this conversation is a lot different than the tone of the email we got. I mean, I don't want to fight with you, Solicitor Malay, but that was a strongly worded email. And it not that, my feelings weren't hurt, but I was like, hey, wait a minute. We have some authority too. And we don't want to step on the administration's authority. And I don't want the administration's authority, no matter who's, in the administration. I don't want my authority taken away from them either. So check and balance is where it's at. I've talked about balance a lot. Let's maintain that balance. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.
I'll just.
Councilman Ritz? Yeah.
Yeah, just, I agree with not directing the work, but I think, gathering all the information, I think the analogy of talking to the police department of, how many cars do you need? But then also hearing the administration side too, I think it just helps us make better decisions with gathering all the information, but clearly not, swaying a decision or anything like that. But I think it also, we're accountable to the taxpayers, and I think it also helps us with those conversations with the taxpayers. And that would just be my perspective, but clearly not directing anymore. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman? No, just press the button. Don't worry about it. You're good. You good? Council Vice President?
No.
No, not at this time. Okay. Fair enough. Listen, then I'm gonna finish it up. I would tend to agree that the conversation is 10 times better than the email. All right, you made that. Listen, sometimes the written word sounds a lot, you don't get any context from the written word. And the context I got was censure a little bit, right? Maybe it wasn't intended. I'll talk to the author at some point and see how he intended it. But I put it on there not to open up a can of worms, but because I thought a discussion of this matter would help out. I do believe what you're saying, Director. You do want to help. You always have been very helpful. Whenever I called, I do believe, and I certainly agree that Director Enzulli has been very helpful in bridging that gap between the council and the administration. And I do want that to continue. But I think the specifics, like when you have specific scenarios, it definitely helps out, because everything is open to interpretation, unfortunately. That's why we have lawyers. But thank you for this. And I know it took a little longer than we expected, but I think it was a beneficial conversation. And with that, I'm looking at my agenda, and there is no more business before this council. So at this time, I'll please ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, signify by saying nay. The ayes have it, the motion carries.